Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? This is, at 1100 WSG. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and yes, this is one street over. What's going on one street over from where you're living? We are living right because we get to live and work in Robertson County, in the words of our county mayor, Mayor Billy Vogel. We love to remind everybody of that. So much good stuff going on. I had an opportunity to be at the Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center last night, and for the big gala that we had up at the center, me and about 550 of my friends. It was such a good time, and I can't wait to get Sean in here and get a complete update. Of course, we talked to her via a phone call yesterday to see what was going on, and it was just a wonderful night. If you were there at the center, you know what I'm talking about. The great stories that you hear and the testimonies. We talk a lot about Celebrate Recovery here on One Street Over because of the work that I have been blessed to be able to do up at the Madison Church of Christ with all my friends up there that are a part of Celebrate Recovery. But the cornerstone of what we do is testimony. And when you hear the testimonies of what God does in lives that are changed, it's just so breathtaking. And that's what we got last night as we were, sitting and enjoying each other's company. We got an opportunity to hear of lives that were changed and just powerful stories. And thank you, Sean, and your entire team that, helped and bring all of that together. So much work that went into that. I just can't say enough about it, but it was a wonderful evening. Now, today we're going to talk to the community of White House, of course. We've got Jerry Herman who's going to be joining us in studio here shortly. That is our city manager, or I think that's what his title is. I forget. But anyway, so tried to keep it all straight. But he is going to be joining us in-house. But now Mandy needs to join us via a phone call. So we're going to make a phone call here and get her on the line because she is in another area, so she couldn't make it into the studio today. But we are glad that we can utilize phone calls. It was so funny. I was talking to Barry Richards yesterday, and him and Becky Richards were at our table for the dinner, along with Catherine from their production company. And it was so funny because we were talking about wouldn't it be fun if we could take phone calls on here on WSGI, and I think that would be great. The one thing that's held us off from doing that is I come from from an understanding that you don't bring live calls on if you don't have a delay or a dump button or something like that, because things could go awry. But I don't know. I was talking to Barry about it, and he said, it'd be kind of fun if we could take phone calls live on the air. So maybe I'll talk to Ilya Maldonado about that, and maybe we can work that into where we can start doing that again. That would be fun. But we're going to be, what brought it up is I said, we're going to start bringing TriStar in. And we're going to have some doctors in, and it would be fun if we could take phone calls, he said. So I thought, that might be kind of fun. Mandy, are you there?
I am here.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I was just saying hi to everybody, talking to them we went to the Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center dinner last night, and it was fabulous. And the big gala where we, the fundraiser, and it's just always so special. And the stories that were told, the testimonies that you hear at that are just breathtaking. And I'm telling you, I can't wait for Sean to come in. I'm not gonna steal the thunder. If you weren't there last night, you'll just have to wait until Sean comes in and tells those stories.
And I wasn't. Unfortunately, I was out of town, but Sean always does such a great job, and that's such an important mission in our community. And so I'm so grateful to have people like her and her board members that step up to make sure that we're able to provide that to Robertson County.
For sure. And another organization that does so much for their community would be our White House Chamber, and that is who Mandy Christson is the president. And how long have you been in that position? And I think I ask you this every time you're in here, just about.
In June, I will have been there 12 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked about that lately, but that's great. Well, congratulations
Time
on that.
flies when you're having fun.
Doesn't it? Honestly, somebody was asking me how long I've been doing this radio show, and I said, I don't know. I'm going to have to sit down and figure it up because it's been a minute, So I got to figure that up. But it's been pre-COVID for sure. So I got to look back and kind of see when this whole thing started. But what a pleasure it is to be able to talk to folks like you in the community. We got Jerry Herman's coming in. He's going to be in-house here, right?
Yes, ma'am, he is. He's our city administrator for the city of White House, and so I'm sure he'll have lots of great updates for everyone.
Yes, and I called him the city manager a while ago because I'm used. Y'all have a different title than what we have. He's the equivalent to Ryan Martin is what we have here in Springfield, but he's called
Yes,
city
ma'am.
administrator.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and I think he is. He will answer to anybody. He is a good, down to earth guy, and
Yes.
answer to pretty much anything. So
There you go. Well, while we've got you on the phone before Jared gets in here, because he won't be able to hear you and we won't be able to have a three-way conversation. So we need to get to the chamber stuff because before he comes popping in here. So what is it you've got going on that we need to make sure everybody knows about?
So we have got a lot coming up. Of course, this warm weather and spring, we're getting a great taste of that. And so a lot of things coming up on the chamber calendar. The first one that I want to tell you about is this Saturday, March 7th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., and that is our military and munitions. And it's actually not a chamber event, it's a museum event, but we get to live with the museum in our building. And so Susan Holcraft, our museum coordinator, has put together a military and munitions, exactly what it sounds like, display with several different vendors that will be there from Native American wartime through present day. So she will have vehicles. I think she may even have a tank. She keeps telling me about new things that she's added, and she's really hopeful that the weather will cooperate because the folks that have these artifacts and collections aren't big on bringing them out in the rain. But last year was her first year for this. It's event Saturday, March 7th, this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the White House and Museum. That's 412 Highway 76, right across the street from Sonic and beside our park. But I just really would encourage anybody to come, and it's free to attend.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, is there any particular reason why they're doing that? Is there some kind of
I believe so. She has a fall event that is really well attended called The Gathering.
Okay.
And she wanted to have something in the spring.
Okay.
And in March is Vietnam Veterans, where we recognize our Vietnam veterans. I'm not sure what day.
Vietnam
March,
Veterans Day, yes, absolutely. Coming up.
And so I think she kind of was tying it to March for that purpose.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. And, because Vietnam Veterans Day is actually going to fall on Sunday this year at the end of the month, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're right. I think it's in the
it's at the end. It's at the end. It's on the 29th. It comes up on the 29th. And last year it was real conveniently, it fell on Saturday. And this year it's falling on Sunday because our Vietnam stuff we're doing on the 27th and the 28th and going to keep it on that weekend prior to, it doesn't matter. But anyway, we'll talk more about that later. But nonetheless, there probably is a tie-in, but that is at the end of the month. So very good. Well, that sounds like something that will be awesome. And you said we got to keep the rain out of there because we do have some rain in the forecast this weekend.
And even if it does rain, she still has a lot of things happening inside.
Okay.
But like I said, she has a lot of vehicles coming in. They'll be on the lawn outside, displayed for everybody to see. And then she's also going to have a food truck on site so people can make an afternoon of it and eat lunch. So it should be a great event.
I think so. And I just love looking at that kind of stuff. It's so much fun. I have a friend that has I don't know what their vehicle is, but they've got an old military vehicle and they'll trailer it. They've even got it tagged where they'll trailer it out to they'll trailer it to the Smokies and drive around. It's like some kind of a Jeep type open vehicle. And anyway, but it's super cool when you see those kinds of things. But I love that.
Really is.
So that's this Saturday. What else have you got?
That is this Saturday. So on Tuesday, March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day, but it is also going to be our county candidate forum. And White House sits right on the line. We straddle Robertson and Sumner County, so we'll be spotlighting candidates from both county elections. Sumner County does not have as many opposed seats as Robertson County, so Robertson County will probably get a little more airtime for that event. But we've invited all of the candidates that are running for county positions. We'll even probably have some of our state representatives, although their filing deadline is not until a little bit later. I think it's maybe that week before in March. But that's Tuesday, March 17th at 11:30 at our City Hall. And I'm going to post the link for that in the comments on your live.
That'd be great. That'd be great. And that is spring break week for Robertson County, but that might make it available for more people to be there that are off from work. What time did you say that's happening?
That is Tuesday, March 17th at 11:30 a.m.
Okay. So if you can possibly make it in on St. Patty's Day, I think y'all probably have a lot of green out too, won't you?
Probably a lot of green and some red, white, and blue.
So sure.
We'll be giving some Italian vibes too, which ironically, Molly Pazzo is catering. However, it will not be Italian food. She is going to do an Irish themed menu. So we'll have lots of fun with that event.
Oh, fun. Okay, very good. All right. So what else is coming up?
So also in March, we have our All-American Chairman Celebration. As you know, this is the 250th anniversary for our great country, America, so celebrating a big birthday. And so we wanted to theme our annual dinner, which is our Chairman Celebration, around that event. So it's going to be an All-American Chairman Celebration, I think picnic vibes. And this is where we recognize our outgoing chairman who's led us through the year. And we celebrate all the Chamber's accomplishments. And then we bring in the new leaders and new board members. And we actually will be inducting 6 new board members this year. Sometimes we have 3 or 4. Sometimes it's 5 or 6. So this year we've got a pretty big class coming in to help us serve our community.
Okay, very good. And so is that something that the public can attend, or how does
the public can attend, yes, ma'am. And now primarily it's our business people, but we usually will have a handful of just citizens that join us for that. We have a variety of different themes. Like I said, this year we'll have some live music and some entertainment and some cornhole and backyard picnic type games. I think we've got a burger bar. And one thing we're really excited about, our friend Ed Cope recommended we do this. As you know, he does a lot of auctions and he donates his time for a lot of charity auctions. And he said that he has seen a really successful event host a dessert auction. So we have some bakers in the community preparing desserts for us, and we're going to auction those desserts off at that event. And this event is a fundraiser for our education initiative. So at the Chamber, we've given away about $30,000 in teacher grants over the last 6 years. And you know, as a teacher, that you have to dip into your pocket a lot of times, there are activities that you want to provide to your students that you just can't find the funding for. And so that's what this is, an opportunity for us to give back to the teachers that are pouring into our students. And then it also helps fund our No Filter Girls Summit, which is an event for junior high through high school girls. It's a day-long event where we really pour back into those girls and try to empower them and equip them for the years to come through middle school and as they enter college.
When does that event come up? That's probably one of my most favorite things that y'all do, is because it's pouring into our kiddos.
It is one of my most favorite as well. It is on June 12th, Friday, June 12th. So it's an all-day event. We end up with about 60 or 70 ladies that give their time for that entire day to work with us and volunteer and make sure that the girls have a great experience.
I just love it. It is just such a great event, and it's so needed. It's so needed right now, being in the school system and being with those high school kids all the time. Man, they just need positive influences and encouragement and people who will just speak hope over them, you know?
Right,
and
right.
It is so important. So I just love that y'all do that. So that'll be here before you know it, because, I mean.
Oh, it really will.
The year's going so fast.
Time is flying.
Yes, it is. It is. So where do you have a senior this year?
I do have a senior, and it really hit me. The last 2 or 3 weeks has really hit me, but we went, he has chosen MTSU, which is my alma mater, for his college, and we went Saturday and did a lot of the final things to make it official. So he got his sign, he got his cords, we helped financial aid. That was eye-opening. And we also, looked at the housing lottery. His housing lottery actually opens at noon today, so we've been planning, and so it's really starting to hit me. And then his friends also have worked on their plan for a senior trip, which sounds unbearably brutal to me, but they want to drive out to Colorado and go hiking and drive for 25 hours straight. And 18-year-old boys, they just don't think about things like moms do.
Yeah, I know, but it's a rite of passage, Mom. It's okay.
I know.
Just cover them in prayer and say, go with God. That's you let them fly. Yeah. You let them fly. And trust the Lord on all of it. It's all beautiful. As a mom of four that have flown the coop, you bite some nails, but God's good. God's good. So it's going to be great. But I was thinking you had a senior, so yes, it is getting close. I guess it because I'm walking around the halls and realizing all the seniors that we have that we're not going to have next year. And I'm going to every year I just miss them so much. When I come back around, I'm like, they're not here. They graduated.
Well, and
so weird.
You build such a relationship with those students.
Really do.
And, I'm really fortunate in the role that I'm in. I get to spend a lot of time in the school system.
Right.
And so I see a lot of my kids' friends and get to engage with them in different ways because we have another program called Get a Life, which is living intentionally for excellence because, as you know, school curriculum has changed, and some things that, when you and I were in high school, we covered, like balancing checkbooks and how to measure and read a tape measure and do a half a cup of liquid and things like that. They're not covered anymore, and so we have volunteers from within the chamber that are experts in their field, and they will go in and they do a 30-minute workshop with classes at White House High School, and so that's another opportunity for me to be with those students. But I am seeing students that I've worked with for the last 2 or 3 years and realizing I'm not going to see these kids next year when I'm back at the school. So I can imagine how you feel because you really form a bond with them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I was having a conversation, John and Becky Elmore, who, are teachers that have been at it forever at Greenbrier, and I was talking to them because they've had to do this year after year after year after year, and I'm just like, it's so hard because they teach with me at Greenbrier, and they were at my table last night for the gala, and they just said, you just deep breaths and just keep pushing on and just love them. Right. And then you see them out in the community, and you're excited for them, because they grow beautifully.
Especially on a day-to-day basis to get to see them. So,
it really is.
But it's really exciting. And, people a lot of times have a negative image of our youth. And, they're teenagers.
I hate that. Yeah.
That hasn't changed historically. There are frustrating things about teenagers, let's be honest. But these kids have so much vision and so much passion about things that they get a bad rap. And I hate to see that because, you don't know what you don't know. So sometimes, yes, they need help with learning those things. And as adults, it's our responsibility to give them that guidance or help teach them instead of belittling them or second guessing what they're doing, because they're our future and we have got to lift them up and support them and pour into them so that they can take us, on to the next successes.
And I appreciate so much what the White House Chamber does for our kiddos. And y'all have so many things, and I just love that you're pouring into them. I didn't mean to get you so off track, but it just hit me. I thought, oh, she's got a senior in the house, and that's getting real.
Yes, so it is getting very real. You're right.
Getting real. And well, God bless you. I know it's going to be wonderful. We're talking with Mandy Christson. She's with the White House Chamber and president of our White House Chamber for 12 years almost, and so many wonderful things happening in the community. The reason we visit with White House Chamber is because you asked for it. We've so many community folks that recognize we need to know what's happening up there because we're right there on the edge of the county, and so much of who we are as Robertson County is right there, and so many businesses in White House are in Robertson County, and of course White House Heritage. Did you know that White House Heritage lost a cooling tower during the ice storm?
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I mean that's one thing I'm super curious. I'm anxious to get Danny Weeks in here and to see how that went because things froze. They had some power outages out there, and so they lost. And I guess it's going to be it'll be an issue when they start trying to cool the building, I think.
Right.
And I'm sure they're way on it, and it'll be an insurance claim and all those kinds of things. But that's something out in y'all's community that could have an influence on that school because if they don't get that fixed, it could get a little toasty in there real quickly. But I'm sorry, I digress. What else have you got for us, Mandy?
So we have got our annual Discover White House Expo and Safety Day. That is an event that pre-COVID was always held in April. but COVID stretched us and pushed us and made us change a lot of things, and so we had moved it to the fall so it could become an outdoor event. But it made our fall schedule very heavy. And because just like this month in March, we have 2 spring breaks to navigate around, we also have 2 fall breaks to navigate around. So we are moving Discover White House Expo and Safety Day back to the spring where it originally started. So it will be Saturday, April 18th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it will be at the Municipal Complex at City Hall. So we'll be taking over the space at the Rec Center, the library, and City Hall to host that event, and we will have vendors. So vendor registration is open. Any business or crafter or maker is welcome to join us. We have food trucks, and then we will have a lot of different agencies from around the counties and also the state that will be on site for that Safety Day portion of the program. And we partner with our police and fire department to host this event. So we have the TBI Mobile Crime Lab coming. We will have SWAT vehicles from Robertson and Sumner County. We're working on getting an EMA response unit. And so lots of exciting things happening. So it's a family event, free to everybody to attend. And like I said, Saturday, April 18th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the White House Municipal Complex will be our Discover White House Expo and Safety Day.
Give me that date one more time, because my husband, being a criminal justice teacher, will be interested in that.
Yes, he definitely will, because we have Swiftwater Rescue come. TWRA will be there a lot of times. So that is Saturday, April 18th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the White House Municipal Complex. It's Discover White House Expo and Safety Day. Like I said, registration is open. We'll have food trucks on site. We'll have some family-friendly activities for the kids. We'll have face painting and balloon twisters, bounce houses. So lots of fun. Great opportunity to get out and explore the community and meet and learn about what's happening in White House.
Oh, I think it's something he definitely is going to want to attend. For sure.
Yes.
And to make those connections. And now you say there's going to be, it's because y'all do an event where y'all even have life flight and different things like that out, don't you? Or do you have, is that what this is?
That is this event.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That's this event, and our fire department coordinates with Life Flight, and he has not gotten confirmation yet. And of course, that is all dependent on what kind of calls they're receiving that day and things like that.
And weather,
but, as we get, and weather, very much so. But as we get closer to that date, some of the agencies that have to work on a tighter timeline will be able to let us know if they're attending, and we will make sure that we post that and keep everybody updated.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely pass that on to him, because that'll be something he'll be super interested in for sure.
Please do.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a great thing. So it's just anything that can just kind of make us aware of all those that take care of us, and just give us an opportunity to go out and see what they do, and also say thank you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it really is a great opportunity. And our police department, they do a DUI simulation course. So they have a golf course, and they have beer goggles that you put on, and it simulates what it's like to be intoxicated. And so, a lot of people may say, well, 1 or 2 drinks don't impact me, my reflexes, or my reaction time. But you put those goggles on, and it is a very different situation. When you can see, you're trying to not hit the cones and navigate with that golf cart. And, of course, it's monitored, and they watch it, and everybody signs a waiver, all of those things. But it is really good for our community to see that, and our students and our adults, sometimes that think they are untouchable, get to have that experience, and maybe hopefully will think twice before they do anything to put others in danger.
The criminal justice program actually has, they call them drunk goggles, and the kids they'll do activities where they'll illustrate it for them. And Mark recently had Mothers Against Drunk Drivers come in and talk to the kiddos, and so they'll do that a lot of times tied into that. But I'll have to tell you, we had an experience back in the middle of my U-Turn LaVern career where I think it was Channel 17 had us go out and talk to people about in the clubs and stuff about how many drinks they could have. I could drink this and that, and then we would do the test and see how much they'd had and kind of test them, and it was profound, the things we discovered and what people thought they could and couldn't do. It was very, very eye-opening. So that's just a really good activity for people to see. No, this is the reality of it, So
yeah.
I love that
Absolutely.
y'all are doing that. So now, is Jerry coming in here at 7:30? Did he talk to you about when he's going to be popping in?
That is what I understand. Yes,
I haven't seen him, so. But
yes,
so we
and
can
that,
talk for a little bit longer when he comes popping in here. We're right at the bottom of the hour, but we've got a little bit of time until he comes in. Is there anything we're missing that you want to make sure we cover?
I'm going to just mention it's a little ways away, but we usually sell out, and that is our golf tournament. It's, spring's coming, and I'm sure if you are a golfer, this weather has you itching to get out and, hit the course. So we have a golf tournament at the Legacy over in Springfield, and that's May 7th. And right now we've got a team registration special, an early bird discount, so they can register and be part of that. And it's always a lot of fun. We have a catered lunch, and it's a shotgun start at noon and lots of prizes and fun. So would encourage any of your golfers that might be listening to consider joining us at the Legacy in a few months.
Okay, very good. That'll be a great time. And you're right. That kind of stuff sells out. Everybody loves it. Are you a golfer?
I am not a golfer at all. And so when we started planning these golf tournaments, they were saying words that I had no idea what they meant. And it was a real learning curve for me because I did take one semester of golf, but it was mainly on hitting, and I never played a full round of golf. And so putt-putt was my golfing experience.
That's hysterical. I tell people, they ask me, because they say, oh, you'd be a great golfer because I'm tall and, I've got some strength and all this. And I think one time I was in a simulator, and it was something to do with radio. We were there, and we were doing some kind of stunt, and they had me get on a golf club, and they're like, oh, you're terrible. And I was like, I told you, I don't know what it is, But anyway, it's not something, but I think it would be fun. And I know those that are just absolutely ready to get out there and get going with it. So very good.
Oh, for sure. And, a lot of our dedicated golfers, they will hit the links when it's not ideal weather. But, when it hits this 80 and sunny, they are really excited.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, guess who just walked in, Mandy? Jerry's here.
Well,
so
good.
Perfect timing. So
yes.
very good.
Yes.
Anything else before we go?
No, just want to remind everybody about that candidate forum on Tuesday, March 17th at 11:30 a.m.
Okay.
We'd love to have you join us. And then, like I said, I posted all of the links in the comments below.
Awesome. You're wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Mandy, for updating us. And we'll get on. Jerry's here, and he says hello, right?
Hello.
Yes. All right. Thank you. You guys have a wonderful day.
You too, Mandy. God bless you. That's Mandy Christensen. She is the president of the White House Chamber, joining us via phone call. We love that we can, call some guests. Sometimes some people can't get in here, and it just opens up all kinds of opportunities. And, I was talking with Barry Richards at the gala last night for Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center, and he's like, y'all need to start taking phone calls. So I don't know. I'll ask you, and maybe we can start taking phone calls. That would be kind of fun. How are you doing, Jerry? Good to see you.
I'm doing good. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. You're always welcome to join me. It's a lot of fun. So appreciate you being here. Mandy, she was out of town, but said you could still come in. So That's great.
Yeah.
So it's just you and me. What are we going to talk about?
I think we're going to talk about the business of the city, right?
Absolutely. Y'all have your mayor and alderman meeting. What day does it hit?
It's the third Thursday of the month.
So we like to circle back around and get you guys in here just to kind of give us an update. And again, this was requested by community leaders in this area that said, we need to hear from White House. We need to know what's going on up there. Yeah. And we've definitely got a vested interest in White House in the community there. Because there's a little bit of you in Robertson County. Is it divided right down the middle, would you say, when you look at the acreage, or what is the percentage? What is the percentage of White House that's in Sumner versus what's in Robertson? I've never heard anybody mention that.
It's pretty even, about 11 square miles, and I think we're fairly even. It might be a little bit more on the Robertson County side as far as land size, and definitely our Sumner side is primarily residential with some retail business and some small businesses. But Robertson County is the biggest part of definitely all of our industrial base is all in Robertson County.
Okay.
And primarily most of our commercial bases there too. Residents are about evenly split. I think when you look at, we gain more property taxes from the Robertson County side, mainly because of the larger buildings that are up, with commercial. And, we have our three big complexes, shopping complexes, Walmart complex, the Kroger complex, the Publix complex. Those are large. So we generate a lot of sales tax from those, a lot of property tax. As a result, probably at least probably closer to 95% of our sales tax is collected on the Robertson County side. So we appreciate Robertson County and what we do, and not that we don't appreciate Sumner County, but Robertson County is a big part of what we do in White House.
See, I had never heard that, and I had something I've always thought about when there's no one to ask. So I'm so glad I thought to ask that question, because I don't think I realized that.
Yeah, it's pretty important. I think when you look at how many commissioners we possibly could have, that could be inside the city limits, and I think have at least 4, but I think we only have 1.
Oh, wow.
And that's about it. So
you need some more commissioners, you're saying?
I think we do, yeah, because I look at how are they scattered, and I think Springfield, being the largest city, has certainly more than 1 commissioner living, I think, within the city limits. So it would definitely help us, at the county level when we're dealing with county issues. So
there you go. I don't know how you get that done, but you can throw it out there. But I guess it's something they'd have to do at the county commissioner. At the county commission. I don't know. We're in the middle of all these elections and all the things. And all that's happening.
That's for sure. Being a city manager, we have to stay away from partisan politics.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's one of our ethics that we have in our code of ethics for the International City Managers Association. So I stay out of that now that they've definitely made all these county positions partisan, which is I think kind of reluctant in some ways. But I guess if you're a party person in that regard, strong party person, you probably like the idea that they do that. But whatever it is, we need some more commissioners in White House. So. Stand up, whoever it is. Matter of fact, I think there's a position in one of the districts that nobody even put in or applied for. So it might be an open seat right now.
There you go. So check into it, guys, if you're interested in serving, and it is you serve, because it's something that you're on call. And running into I was at the Scala for Open Door last night, and definitely some politicking going on. So it's just part of it. So Jerry Herman's here. He is the city administrator for White House. And so update us. What happened at your mayor and alderman meeting?
Well, sometimes you never know if it's going to be a long meeting or short meeting, because you could get into a hot subject, or all of a sudden you're like, why are all these people sitting out here today?
Yeah.
When a lot of times you get nobody interested in local politics, except for the alderman and the mayor that's already there. But I think just starting out, we met on February 19th at our regular meeting, and after they go through the roll call and pledge and prayer and all that, we had a couple of proclamations. The mayor does those. He wanted to recognize a young man in our community, Lucas McNamara, that was going to be entering into the United States Marine Corps. He's either there now or will be very soon heading into boot camp. And being a former Marine myself, I know what the next 12 weeks is going to be like for him when he gets there. It's going to be very challenging.
Yes.
But I think he can make it. He's a young man. Matter of fact, he's the son of one of our Alderman Jana Spice. So we're real proud of him. And then the mayor wanted to make a proclamation concerning the White House Methodist Church. I don't know if you knew this or not, but when we went through that big deep freeze here a few weeks back, the Methodist Church, United Methodist Church, and Pastor Edwards, they stepped up and they opened up their doors, because they still had power. There were, about half our community didn't have power, and they did have power there. And so they opened up their facility for a warming place, and that was very. It was good to know that they had that. They didn't have a generator, but because they had power, they could keep people warm. So we between them and then the city hall, we had also set up an area for people to get inside and be warm. I think that was really important. After that, we go through communications, and there's usually the board, mayor, alderman have a chance to just say what they'd like to say, if they've received any letters or anything they'd like to talk about, or any concerns they might have. And then the city attorney has an opportunity to talk about any legal matters, and then I usually talk about some city matters, things that I wanted to direct to the board. And I think, because of that winter storm firm, it was so fierce, as you know.
That. And
I'm
crazy.
And I think you actually made it in here, didn't you, for your
Yeah,
program?
I live 2 miles away, though.
Okay.
I mean, I could just about walk here. I'd maybe need to get an early start, but and my husband grew up in this stuff, and we have 4-wheel drive. So
Right.
I always kind of, when I say I get out, I always want to give that caveat that we have the vehicle, he has the experience, and we're 2 miles away. So
That's
because
great.
you don't need to be out on it, but it's pretty convenient for me to be able to, and that way we can keep everybody up to date.
Yeah, and it's so amazing. I mean, when you're sitting at home and you're in this situation, obviously, if you're without power and everything, I just want to comfort you to know that there are people that are in the background doing all kinds of things to make sure that we can clear the roads, to make sure we can provide for folks that may be stranded or that may be in a home that's too cold for them to be in. And, we were doing daily calls with EMA, and I wanted to make sure that, that I thank my close team, my police chief, my fire chief, our public services director. We were in constant communication all day long. Every few minutes we're communicating back and forth. What can we do? What are you doing? What's your team doing? What problems are you running into? I got to thank Blake Pierce, our EMA director. He did a fantastic job.
Yes.
He brought us all together, and every day we were having briefings for what was going on in the county, how we could help each other, if there's anything we could do to help each other. We were getting those updates about how many people are still without power, how many people are in the warming shelters. I just couldn't think enough when I needed some cots, and he helped us out with the American Red Cross to get us some cots and some blankets so that we could have that inside our community building for people. It was so neat to see all that people coming together. And then as soon as, you get the first couple of days in, then our wastewater guys, when the power started coming back on to all these subdivisions all at the same time, it was blowing our pumps that we have for grinder pumps for each individual homes. So we had over 200 calls just in a couple of days for people needing service because their sewer was being backed up because the pumps weren't working. And so we replaced, I think, 80 pumps, which is unbelievable.
My goodness.
Yeah, just that many pumps that we had to replace. And so I got to thank our wastewater guys. I mean, they were willing to come in and work through the crazy weather that they were dealing with because, it was different than I think any storm we've had in the past in the sense that it lasted so long. It was so cold for so long. So these guys were coming in, on days that the rest of the city was closed, and they're out there changing these pumps so that people could
working like crazy,
so they could flush their toilets.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. I had no idea that had happened. Oh, God bless you.
Yeah, and then you're trying to get a declaration, together with emergency declaration for the state, and and Blake's trying to get us the information, and we're trying to get the mayor's signature and figuring out. I think Mandy came into play and helped us find a way that we could get electronic signature from the mayor from his house, which he had no power at his home. So it was. There's a lot of things going on in the background in these type of situations. But I got to say, our well-trained force. I mean, that's what we train for. Police and our fire and our public services, we have plans and policies, procedures in place, and they all came together when we needed it, and it was just amazing watching the folks come together to get this, to make it a safer place for White House. So,
and that's when we see things like that happen and see how everybody just kind of just comes together and gets it done, it makes you really glad that this is where we live.
Kind of warm and fuzzies, huh? It does.
It does, doesn't it?
It really does.
For sure.
And then you look at what was going to be the next thing was going to be the cleanup, right?
Yeah.
All these trees,
and it's going very well.
Yeah, I think.
There's still a lot to do, but it's going pretty well. I see a lot of brush on the sides of the road waiting for the pickups.
Right. Yeah. We have 2 brush trucks. One I say is new but it seems like the older you get, something's new when it's 9 years old. But it's probably 9 or 10 years old, and we have another one that's probably 20 years old. And so we broke out the old one, and I've had our crews running 2 brush trucks every day, except 6 days a week instead of 4 days a week like we normally do. So our crews are out there picking it up. We're taking it out. We're separating it out at our public services department, depending on what's Sumner, what's Robertson, in case we can get reimbursements on these disaster declarations that have been given. We're trying to do that. And fortunately, we reached out to Portland. They had this air curtain container that we can actually burn brush without creating smoke. There's a lot of smoke going up in the air. It's really fascinating. I had to look it up on YouTube myself. I'm like, when my fire department and my public works guys were talking about it. Portland had one for us because we were trying to rent one, but they let us use one. So I'm so thankful for Mayor Callis and his team for allowing us to have this. So because we don't allow open burning anymore because we're so dense there in White House, and there's just no way you can just burn brush, and to have brush, basically chopped up or something like that, in the mulch, very expensive, big, and the amount that we'd be bringing in would probably be $1 million just to have all that mulched up. So we're burning now every day and trying to get that brush pile, taken down. Sure. But if the residents of White House, if you're listening, please just be patient with us. We're working on getting that brush picked up. It's just going to take us a couple of months because there's a lot of it, as you well know. Just driving around, you see the brush piles everywhere.
Oh, yeah, but it'll take a little bit of time. But I think it's going pretty well and going much quicker than I really thought it would. So, talking with Jerry Herman, he is the city administrator for White House, and appreciate him coming in and giving us an update on the mayor and alderman meeting that happened week before last. So, what else have you got for us?
Well, they had a couple of resolutions. One is like we try to keep our personnel manual up to date on policies, and then there was a couple of things we had to do that with that, and then our annual we call it a Section 125 premium only plan. It's just basically a tax deferred thing for your insurance that we do annually that has to be passed by resolution. I think they wanted there were some fee changes with the Parks Department with their new building. I think they wanted to take away the part-time memberships and just go full-time memberships only. So I think from last I heard, we may be up to 4,000 members already, and since October when we opened up this rec center. It's unbelievable how many folks are signing up to use our facilities. The walking track, we have a room for like yoga and aerobic exercises, meeting spaces. It's just a lot of people are coming there daily.
It's a beautiful facility.
It's working out really good.
It really is. It really is. And you are packed. I mean, y'all got a lot of folks living there and more coming.
Right. Yeah. So then they had, I think just an ordinance on leisure services and policy changes that they made. And see if there's what else that we had that might be really important for the folks.
I'll tell you what, take a look. Let me do my break for Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. I talked to them both last night, and I've got them on the calendar for the 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day. They're going to come in. They are on the board for the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival that's coming up third weekend in May. And I get to have the honor of going out and hosting that event once again this year. Love doing that. And they're always there and a part of that as well. So I told him, I said, that's spring break week, and I was originally going to be unavailable, but I'm going to go ahead and work on Tuesday and Thursday that week. And so I asked him, I said, we got an opening, so why don't you come in and let's talk Kilgore, because Lee Marie mentioned that Kilgore might be Irish heritage and his father. I think. I mean, I'm still checking into it. So we thought, well, we'll do a little tie-in to St. Patrick's Day and all the things. And we're trying to tease Barry into dressing up like a leprechaun or something silly, but I don't know that he'll do that. But anyway, it'd be fun. And they're just a lot of fun. I loved hanging out with them at the gala last night. They're dear friends. They're my longest running full-time sponsor of this program. Really been sponsoring it from really right at the very beginning. And we can't do it without them. So we just appreciate so much them pouring into One Street Over and to the community. Barry's production company was the one that put together the video for the gala last night. And they do so much for all kinds of community events. If there's something going on in the community, if they possibly can, you're going to see their Exit Prime Realty tent out, and they're going to be talking to the community and doing all the things they can to help you if you have questions about your property. I mean, this is a booming area. It's crazy. If you haven't had a market analysis done on your property lately, you might want to do that, because you will probably be stunned at the equity that you have in your property. And maybe that's all you need. You just want to know, okay, what kind of equity do I have? Could I get an equity loan, make some improvements, make my life a little bit easier? And they can help navigate those waters for you. But then if you decide you want to sell your property, the market analysis is so crucial, because you can think how much your property is worth and somebody can tell you how much it's worth. But until you know what the properties around you are selling for and what it actually can get a loan for, you're going to waste your time putting it on the market if you don't have those numbers, because when you find a buyer, they've got to be able to finance that loan. And if it's not meeting the appraisals, you won't be able to do it. So there's so much to dealing with real estate, whether you're buying or selling. If you're buying, you got to know how much you qualify for. Maybe you want to buy a piece of property up in Kentucky. Maybe that's a little bit more affordable. I know Rebecca had a open house up in Franklin, Kentucky on Sunday. So they're always looking at properties that are popping up across the state line, a little more affordable for you. But maybe you work in Tennessee, you got to understand the nuances of working in a state that has a income tax versus, or living in one that has an state income tax versus working in one that doesn't. And that's going to do a little bit to your bottom line and how much home you can afford. And you also have to have a broker that can broker deals across the state line, and Exit Prime. They do with the White House office, the agency office up there. Their broker can still broker deals in Kentucky because the laws have changed up there. Now, Rebecca is an agent up in White House. She has her agency office up there. Barry has his brokerage office here right in Springfield, in downtown, and together they put together a new branch in the Exit Tree, Exit Prime Realty. You can connect with them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or BUY, robertsoncounty.com, or you can give them a call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or 7424, and be sure always to let them know you turned sent you, and look forward to having them in studio with us in a couple of weeks. So 2 weeks from today, actually. So there you go. Where else do we need to go there?
Well, I think we can talk about some of the things that we approved for purchasing in this past council meeting. The one is my pride and joy, something I've been working on for about 4 years. It was a grant to put an additional sidewalk along 31W along our state, and it's going to be from our south trailhead, which is right by Twin Oaks Apartments there, and it'll go up to the intersection of State Route 258, which is Raymond Hirsch Parkway there. And we're going to make some improvements to that intersection, putting crosswalks there and lights there for people to cross, which we don't have now for pedestrian crossing. The sidewalk will continue all the way down. I think it's down to Brooklawn in front of the bargain, the old bargain, which is now Goodwill. It'll pass all the way down through there. So project was about $1.3 million, and the bid came in really good for the Tucson Group, which has been doing some work in White House recently. Group out of Clarksville, and for $871,468. The nice thing about this is we'll get reimbursed 80% of that for federal money for our sidewalk program there. So I'm excited to see that happening. I think they'll probably get that project underway, and then probably in the next few weeks they'll probably start mobilizing, and then we'll see. Hopefully we won't have too many traffic delays along that route, but there will be some as they start doing their construction.
Very good.
Yeah. Another one I think we're really excited about is it was the Rogers Group won a bid for paving or making a new parking lot for us at our dog park at the main city park. This is a grant that's a 50-50 match through TDEC, and we're excited to have that. Our Parks Recreation Director wrote this grant, and along with that, I think if you go to our city park, it's pretty well full with almost all the activities we can get. However, we're not done yet. We have a couple more things we're doing right now. Where the baseball quad is, there's a concession stand there that we have completely renovated and put a new roof on it, and just the inside was completely gutted. And we also built another building right next to it for coaches meeting or referees meetings, room and space for them to be able to change gear if they need to or whatever. But we have a space there now for that. So that award for that was $272,000. So I anticipate seeing some work on that dog park parking lot. Hopefully this spring and summer they'll get that done. Another one we did was, and this is for our senior citizens. Every Wednesday we have a senior citizen lunch day, and we'll get anywhere from 100 to 150 seniors show up, to get lunch. And we have a gentleman by the name of Casey, and let's see here. I have his name here, Casey Morton. He's been serving lunch for years, and we had to go out for bid for this because it was time to do that. And he won the bid, so we're real excited about that because the seniors love the food that he makes for them. And so we're happy that he was able to win that bid. And for the next 4 years, he'll be able to continue providing senior lunches. Another thing, he's talented. Every once in a while, I'll walk down by the senior center, and there'll be a band in there, and he's up there singing, playing the guitar. I'm like, this guy really loves our seniors. So I'm so happy that he was the one that got that bid.
Great. They'll love that.
Yeah. Another thing we got was we had to go out to rebid on this project because of some issues we had with the last bidding. But the Public Works Department wants to put up a building to store equipment in, and so they needed a large concrete pad to start the project. And so let's see who got that award for that. Access Construction won that award for $215,712. So I'm hoping to see that get done here probably in the next month or so. They should be able to get that done for us. And as I talked to you about those grinder pumps, those 80 grinder pumps, we ran out of stock because basically we were down to just a few pumps left after that major storm crisis. So the board went ahead and approved us to purchase another 76 e-pumps. Those things are not cheap either.
They don't have to go per house, do they?
Yes, they do. And many, we can get into that in another session. I can bring our waste management guy in, but for our waste, we have three different ways of getting rid of our waste collection that goes out to our treatment plant, and one of them is low pressure grinders, which is our second highest. And I can't remember exactly. We have at least 2,500 homes out there that have these little pumps at each house, and if when you flush, it goes through this pump and grinds it up and then sends it into our collection system. And so these pumps are around, I don't know, $1,200, $1,500 a piece. So they approved us a little over $99,000, just under $100,000 for us to go ahead and replace the pumps that needed to be replaced. So we did that. And then this was our annual time for our healthcare renewal. And so our broker went out and got bids from different insurance companies, and we've been with Cigna for several years. And so they did give us the lowest bid, and it's, you think we've done really good, I think, with our healthcare, but they started out like wanting 16% increase. Healthcare is just amazingly high, and with drug prices and everything else. So our broker was able to get them down to 8%, and for the first time in I think 8 or 9 years, the city has been able to absorb the full cost of any increases, because they've been fairly modestly low, but this one was a little bit high. So the board has approved us to split that extra increased cost between the employees and the city. And so we'll split that this year, and it's going to cost us a little bit more on the employee side. But we have a very good program, a very good plan. We have low deductibles and low overall coverage, annual fees that you have to pay out every year. So I think it's a win-win for the city that they provide such an excellent program, healthcare program for us, and that the fact that they've been able to pick up the cost all these years. So this is pretty big for us. So that's. See what else do we have? I think that was pretty much it. They've also approved to have a study session March 19th. We had 10 executive recruiting firms reach out to the city in our bid process to get a replacement for myself. So that we're going to have a meeting, special study session before our March meeting, an hour before, so that the board can talk about these 10 applicants and decide which one they would like to choose to help them with that selection. So bittersweet there, but I'm excited.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I had been told that you were retiring, but I thought, well, I did not. I'm one of these people, if it's something that I'm not sure you want to talk about, that I'm not going to ask you on air until I've asked you off air. Can we discuss this? But you brought it up.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Yeah. You're retiring. So when are you retiring?
My plan is July 16th.
Okay.
I've been kicking around, what day in July. In July, I'll have my full Social Security benefits from the federal government. So I'll be happy about that, along with, some other things to help my wife and I take care of retirement. But July 16th, that's my deceased father's birthday. Aww. And I thought that's the perfect day, and it's a day we're going to have our council meeting that night. So I figured I can just say my last goodbyes at the council meeting on Thursday night on the 16th.
So tell them what you've done in your career to lead to your retirement, because you are a fascinating man. So since I've got an opportunity, we've got a couple of minutes here, unless you got something you need to cover.
No,
just unpack your career as you get ready to retire. Why don't you do that for us? You started as a Marine, right?
Yeah, I was right out of high school, went to the United States Marine Corps and served 4 years in the service, and got married in that time frame, and my wife and I settled in Toledo, Ohio, and that's where we grew up. Both of us did, and she told me about a year before we were going to leave the Marine Corps. Hey, you better find something to do. I said, well, I'll just go back and do what everybody else does, go back and work for the Jeep plant like my dad and my brother and stuff. But she's like, I don't think so. So anyways, I started looking, should I go into ministry or go into law enforcement? And I chose law enforcement. And so it took me a little while when I got up in Toledo to find the job. But in 1984, I got hired by my hometown as a police chief I knew for years. And I was hired as a young police officer and started my career. And then 2 years in Northwood, went to the city of Sylvania. They had a better opportunity for me. I was trying to get my college work done, and they offered to pay for that. So I spent next 14 years with the city of Sylvania, got all the way through my master's degree, got promoted, and then had an opportunity to go back to my hometown, which is just 20 miles away, to be their police chief. And it was pretty competitive. There were several applicants for it, and I was so grateful to be able to do that. And I served that for 8 more years. So I did a full career in Ohio. At 25 years, you could retire. So I bought my military times in 28 years I had there. And so my wife and I thought we would go back south, and we seen this opportunity in White House where they were looking for somebody that I could tell that had a good Christian faith. It seemed like they wanted someone that they just felt like it was going to happen for them. And I thought, hey, I might be that guy. So I applied, and then I wasn't sure I was going to be that guy. It was kind of interesting when I came down here. I was like, they had 2-day interview process, and there was testing and interviews and all the stuff they make police chiefs go through. And I was like, I remember going back to the hotel and telling my wife, this isn't going to work for us. And she's like, well, honey, I was over at the Cracker Barrel, and those people are so nice. And they invited me back for breakfast. I said, she goes, just go to the second day and see how it goes. And I was like, honey, there was a guy there in bib overalls. I mean, they're interviewing me. I'm like, this is like rural. They're like 25 years behind where we were. And she goes, let's try it. So anyways, I went to the second day, and it was a wonderful day. I got to go to the police department. It was new, updated, and the people they were so kind here. And so we got back home, and we got the call, and we said, let's, pack up our gear and head down to the White House. And so that's where I've been now for 18 years. I can't believe it.
Wow.
And, I just, unbelievable. I thought maybe I'd work maybe 10 more years, but I fell in love with White House, and my wife says it's your second love, and because she's my number one love, so I have that. And so here we are, 4 years as our police chief, and now 14 years as a city manager. I remember when they said, they decided to go outside like they're doing now. They hired a consultant, and I was the interim city manager, but they asked me to apply, and I was like, I really like being your police chief, and because this is nice, relaxing, community. Yeah. There's not a lot of crime here, but once I went and applied, and then they chose me to do the interview, and they interviewed me in a couple hours, and then they offered me the job. And so we were just so grateful, so blessed to be able to be here in Robertson County, Sumner County. It's been a great career here.
God bless you, and you do have such an interesting background, and it's the top of the hour. It's 8 o'clock, but you mentioned something that I did not know about you, that you almost went into ministry.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
So do you do ministry stuff?
I've always in church.
We're all ministers. We're all ministers of the gospel.
So, yeah.
And so if you're a follower of Christ, you're a minister of the gospel.
Amen.
But to do it as a career is something different and difficult. So God bless you. I didn't know that was a consideration.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
So 42 years in local government.
God bless you.
4 more years with Marine Corps. 46 years. I think it's time to retire. I think I've done my
retirement.
But I'm hoping time.
We'll get to talk to you a few more times before you retire. But I'm so glad you mentioned it, because that was kind of like the thing I wanted to say, but I'm like, I can't do it until I talk to him after we get off the air. So we are out of time. Jerry Herman, City Administrator of White House, and on the edge of retirement, but we got him for a few more months. So God bless you. Thank you for coming and joining us this morning.
Yes,
thank you guys for joining us. Tomorrow we're going to be talking to some area principals on the first Wednesday. That's what we do. So get ready for that, and we'll hear a little bit more about some of our schools and what they're up to. I hope you'll join us. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
On the resurrection morning, when all the dead in Christ shall rise, we'll have a new body. Praise the Lord.